Om Samatha Sadguru Sri Sainathaya Namaha. Sai Baba in his teachings. Chapter 5. Sadhana outside hours of meditation. We have said that an understanding of the problem of life and the solution to it is the first major step in the transformation of all life into sadhana. This understanding can be made more vivid by a study of similar analysis of the problem offered by perfect ones like the Buddha and Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. This can be further supplemented by diligent study of the Bhagavad Gita. The consequent clearer understanding of our problem further strengthens the motivation for sustained sadhana. Then it is of great study the lives of perfect ones. They are the assurance and promise of the outcome of sadhana. Venkataraman Young Venkatraman was galvanized into an ardent seeker after divine wisdom after the study of the Periyapur, Periyapuranam. By studying the lives of several Mahatmas of different religions, we understand the dynamics of a spiritual endeavor along different paths and the relationship between them. Eventually, our heart will be able to choose one of them as our example. This prepares us for the third step, that is, contacting a perfect sage in flesh and blood. A study of a Sri Guru Gita will enable us to tune ourselves to him when we meet him. The next major step is contacting a living sage. This can be done in two ways. A seeker can ardently pray for divine guidance in this matter and study Sri Guru Gita, Sri Guru Charitra, and the life of the saint that had attracted us most during our earlier study. Instances of such efforts being very effective can be seen in the lives of Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi and Sri Swami Samartha of Akkalkota. Or the seeker can go on seeing as many Mahatmas as he could, taking time to understand them. This, of course, involves a danger of being enticted by false shows of enlightenment and miraculous powers by several self styled, less developed seekers. The previous study, reflection, and a clear understanding of a problem of life and its solution should help one to recognize the genuine Mahatma. It is essential that we do not easily surrender our power of understanding in the name of surrendering to the Guru. A true Guru conquers our heart and he spurns a too mean surrender and irrational emotionalism, whereas a false one persuades us to do so. We should remember two great statements here. Sai Baba of Shirdi said, "A true fakir, saint, is rare." The Bhagavad Gita says that out of thousands of people, one would be drawn Godward. Out of thousands of such, a few persevere in sadhana and ultimately very few realizes the self. There is no danger of our losing the grace of a true Guru by our caution. For the really perfect one would measure up to our doubt and quell it. Only on our side, the yearning for enlightenment should be genuine. One sure sign of this is that it does not make us proud of ourselves than a dying man would be for his desperate struggle to survive. When the real Guru is contacted, the impact of the meeting is unmistakable. Let us note two instances. In spite of their recurring errors, how the devotees of Sai were constantly made aware of Sai Baba's perfection can best be seen in Mrs. Manager's account in Devotees' Experiences of Sai Baba, Part 1, Section 4. Once perfect impression of Sai Baba was derived from his eyes, there was such power and penetration in his glance that none could continue to look at his eyes. One felt that Sai Baba was reading him or her through and through. Soon one lowered one's eyes and bowed down. One felt that he, means Sai, was not only in one's heart but in every atom of one's body. A few words, a gesture would reveal to one that Sai Baba knew all about the past, present, and even future and about everything else. There was nothing else to do for one except to submit trustfully and to surrender oneself to him. And there he was to look after every minute detail and guide one safe through every turn and vicissitude of life. He was Antaryamin, call him God or Satpurusha, that is, one who is in the absolute state of being, in Sahaja Sthiti, means the original state, or what you like. But the overpowering personality was there, and in his presence, no fears, no questionings had any place, and one resigned oneself, and that was the only course, the safest and the best course. One noticeable difference between Sri Sai Baba and other saints struck me. I have moved with other notable saints also. I have seen them in high samadhi or trance condition, entirely forgetting their body and in its course effacing the narrow notion of the self confined to the body, and I have seen them later getting conscious of their surroundings, knowing what is in our hearts and replying to us. But with Sri Sai Baba, there was their peculiar feature. He had not to go into trance to achieve anything or to reach any higher position or knowledge. He was every moment exercising a double consciousness, one actively utilizing the ego called Sri Sai Baba and dealing with other egos in temporal or spiritual affairs, and the other entirely superseding all egos and resting in the position of the universal soul or ego. He was exercising and manifesting all the powers and features incidental to both the states of consciousness. Other saints would forget their body and surroundings and then return to it. But Sri Sai Baba was always in and outside the material world. Others seemed to take pains and by effort to trace the contents of others' minds and read their past history. But with Sri Sai Baba, this was not a matter of effort. He was in the all-knowing state always. It is not merely his power that endeared him to his devotees. His loving care combined with those powers made Shirdi a veritable paradise to the devotee who went there. Directly we went there, we felt safe, that nothing could harm us. When I went and sat in his presence, I always forget my pain, nay, the body itself with all mundane concerns and anxieties. His accessibility to all and at all hours practically was a remarkable feature of his my darbar, means royal assembly, is always open. He used to say, at all hours. He had nothing to fear from scrutiny and nothing shameful to conceal. All his actions were open and above board. Another distinguishing feature of his life was freedom from care and anxiety. He had no interest to serve or protect, no institution to seek support for or maintain, no acquisitions to safeguard, no private property to feel anxious about. That the influence of a Mahatma's presence is unmistakable and cannot be a subjective fancy of the devotee is borne out by the fact that was skeptic is made aware of it. Paul Brunton, an English journalist who visited Maharshi, was quite a skeptic. He describes his experience on his first visit to Maharshi in his book, A Search in India, thus: It is an ancient theory of mine that one take the inventory of a man's soul from his eyes. But before those of the Maharshi, I hesitate, puzzled and baffled. There is a something in this man which holds my attention as a steel filings are held by a magnet. I cannot turn my gaze away from him. My initial bewilderment, my perplexity at being totally ignored, slowly fade away as this strange fascination begins to grip me more firmly. But it is not till the second hour of the uncommon scene that I become aware of a silent, resistless change which is taking place within my mind. One by one, the question which I have prepared in the train with such meticulous accuracy drop away, for it does not now seem to matter whether they are asked or not, and it does not seem to matter whether I solve the problems which have hitherto troubled me. I know only that a steady river of quietness seems to be flowing near me, that a great peace is penetrating the inner reaches of my being, and that my tortured brain is beginning to arrive at some rest. How small seem those questions which I have asked myself with such frequency? How petty grows the panorama of the lost years? I perceive with sudden clarity that the intellect creates its own problems and then makes itself miserable trying to solve them. This is indeed a novel concept to enter the mind of one which has hitherto placed such high value upon intellect. I surrender myself to the steadily deepening sense of a restfulness until 2 hours have passed. The passage of time now provokes no irritation because I feel that the claims of mind made problems are being broken and thrown away. And then, little by little, a new question takes the field of consciousness. Does this man, the Maharshi, emanate the perfume of spiritual peace as the flower emanates fragrance from its petals? I begin to wonder whether, by some radioactivity of the soul, some unknown telepathic process, the stillness which invades the troubled waters of my own soul really comes from him. Yet he remains completely impassive, completely unaware of my very existence, it seems. This is a mysterious property in this man which differentiates him from all others I have met. I feel somehow that he does not belong to us, the human race, so much as belongs to nature, to the solitary peak which rises abruptly behind the hermitage, to the rough tract of jungle which stretches away into distant forests, and to the impenetrable sky which fills all space. It may be useful to note a few outstanding features that are common to realized sages. They are not self conscious of their own perfection. They do not claim anything. At best, they are amused by the reverence shown to them. They are perfectly open to all, never reaching out for a devotee or shunning him. They are not attached to any single religious tradition to the exclusion of others and reveal a spontaneous understanding of every path of sadhana. They clarify our understanding and never thrust their view on us. Needless to say, they do not criticize any religion or any other spiritual leader. They reveal an effortless and spontaneous life of virtue and never reject any seeker for his failings. They never try to bind the seeker in elegance to themselves, nor do they seek to extract any work or service from anyone, either for themselves or for their institutions, for they do not identify themselves with any institution that might have grown around them. They do not induce or prompt anyone to advertise them. Their tranquility is innate and is never perturbed by any cravings, not even for money or recognition. They attach little importance to any formal show of pity by the visitors. They do not get conditioned by the service rendered to them. They are their own masters and their own servants. They do not exhibit their miraculous powers. Any such happens spontaneously and invariably they serve to awaken the seeker to the omnipresent spirit. They never merely show off their power. They hardly write anything by themselves or assume the attitude of spiritual teachers out to salvage a humanity from the mire of ignorance. They are amused and never appalled by the play of Maya on all the seekers. The contact with a perfect Mahatma enlivens all our understanding gained through our previous study and reflection. In their presence, we gain a taste of realization spontaneously and realize that our life has gained a new dimension through the contact. The tension that have hitherto entangled us in our spiritual progress are released. Our life acquires a new value and significance to us by the contact. Our understanding of the problem of life and the solution to it becomes spontaneous and effortless. The whole of our life gets tuned to them even when we are away physically, and our mundane concerns beyond the necessities of life drop to the level of mere moral responsibility without any emotional overtones. All this may or may not dawn on our experience on the first or any single visit to Mahatma. This should not be anticipated or even conjured by our efforts to in the presence of a holy one. It is only meant to be an aid to recognize it when it happens or otherwise. Contact with a Mahatma is not a matter of experience which is localized or confined to certain moments. It is a continuous process which will never cease. It may be clouded now and then by the preponderance of our habitual reactions to other things and events. The moment we apply the insight we have gained into the nature of the things to the immediate situation, our habitual reactions clear off like clouds, leaving the sky like clarity and attunement to the Mahatma intact. Through practice, one learns to be aware of it even amidst the discharge of one's responsibilities, even as a faithful servant looks upon his duties as an expression of his devotion in his master. The responsibilities thereby gain a new sense sanctity and significance to our sadhana. Thus, the spiritual master becomes a living glimpse or symbol of all that one had learnt about the secret of life and sadhana. Real sadhana starts with such a contact with the Guru, and all that precedes it is a mere preparation. The closer and more constant such an attunement to him becomes, the more effortless and spontaneous the sadhana becomes. The more thoroughly does one realize that the Guru is the truth, the way, and the life. That is the true significance of the Buddhist vow. Buddhist Buddham Sharanam Gacchami and the Hindu concept of self-surrender. The Guru is realized more and more clearly to be the embodiment of one's goal, which is one's real self, the imperturbable rock bottom of oneself. The Guru within is the Guru without nay. The seeker has his being within the Guru. Till this process matures, one has to take care not to allow his real contact with the Guru and its significance to be lost sight of through familiarity that arises from prolonged contact. He would do well to bring it into bold relief by going back to one's own life and return to it again with such a reawakened sense of its significance. During one's stay far away from the Guru, it is useful to resort to a study of the books mentioned earlier whenever one's attitude to his Guru start being mechanical, a mere matter of habit. On the one hand, such study reawakens the seeker's mind to the value of his Guru. But the study itself gives a depth of understanding of the books of wisdom. The seeker realizes that his contact with the Guru has deepened his capacity to appreciate the profundity of these books, and that the latter reflects upon the broadens his ability to imbibe the living wisdom of the Guru. It's no mere coincidence that a sage like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was asked by a devotee, "Sir, you tell us that association with a sage is of inestimable value to our spiritual life, but most of us, fettered by our moral responsibilities to our families, cannot afford to have it except occasionally. What satsanga can we have then?" The sage replied, "Sat is the omnipresent reality and Sangha means our attunement to it. You can have it wherever you are." After a moment's silence, he again said, "Even the study of the lives and teachings of a sage can secure for you this attunement. Even that could be spiritual association with the wise one." Sai Baba of Shirdi often enjoined the devout study of a Sri Guru Charitra. When his devotee Anna Sahib Dabolkar persuaded him to extend his consent for the composition of an account of his life, Sai Baba assured him that his work would serve a similar purpose to his devotees. The Bible derives its values chiefly from the Gospels. Sage Vedavyasa considers that the Bhagavata is of greater value of the value to the seeker after liberation than his other Puranas. What distinguishes the Bhagavata is the account of perfect sages that it contains. The direction given by the Chendo, Chendogyapanishad that a seeker after liberation, having prepared himself, should approach a sage who is perfectly realized and also well versed in the scriptures is thus fully corroborated by the varieties of spiritual life. Om Samartha Sadguru Sri Sai Nadhaya Namah.